At least 3 people are dead in Ukraine following a new wave of Russian missile and drone strikes overnight. Moscow is ramping up its pressure on Ukraine as the country's president, Volodymyr Zelensky, was in Turkey to meet with President Trump during the NATO summit. For more, let's bring in Ian Bremmer, the president and founder of the Eurasia Group. So, Ian, President Trump says the U.S. will license the Patriot missile defense system to Ukraine and train Ukrainian forces to make and use the weaponry. How critical is this? Does this shift the trajectory for Ukraine?
Long term, sure. I mean, it would be a matter of years, honestly, before you have that supply chain actually up and running. So it would make a difference in the war. But I mean, this is a very big change for a president that had been kicked out of the White House, told he didn't have the cards, and had his intelligence and defense support suspended by President Trump only a year ago, April. Now, of course, he's doing much better against the Russians. He's seen as much more of a winner, and Trump is jumping on his side. And it made for a much more successful NATO summit. Certainly, the United States and the Europeans much more aligned in terms of support for Ukraine today than they were, say, 3 months ago.
President Trump's rhetoric, though, was increasingly hostile toward his NATO allies, despite saying there was a lot of love in the room. How are his comments over the last 2 days being received by the alliance? Where does the U.S. currently stand with other allies?
Well, I mean, they mostly don't like him. They mostly don't trust him. It's not true of all of them, of course. I mean, the Turkish president, Recep Erdogan, who was hosting the summit in Ankara, actually has a very good relationship with Trump. And Trump said, I don't want to have sanctions on friends. I want to take them off. I also want to sell you F-35s. We'll see what Congress has to say about that. Most of the NATO allies think that Trump is a problem. He is a destabilizing force. He's not to be trusted. But they also recognize that he's a lot more talk and bluster than he is follow through. And some of that is because of constraints from the court system in the U.S. Some of that is because countries punch him back in the mouth pretty hard, like we saw from the Chinese or like we saw from the Iranians. But some of it is he's just starting to run out of rope. And, when it came to Greenland, for example, he talked about, I got to take Greenland. He's got no way to take Greenland, and there's no or else that's credible against the Danes or anybody else. So they kind of throw it away. He tells the Spaniards, I'm actually going to stop trading with Spain. And the Spaniards are like, yeah, but you don't trade with Spain. Corporations trade with Spain. Individuals trade with Spain. We don't think this is credible. It's not very credible. So, I mean, at the end of the day, all of the headlines that Trump is making by, sort of slagging off a number of allies that he doesn't really like personally, we don't take too much away from that in terms of actual outcomes.
Ian Bremmer, good to talk to you. Thank you.